think it is also for clubs like Real Sociedad, who are, habitually around the European places in Spanish football, albeit this year's been more of a struggle, although they are back up there now since Materazzi took over. It's validation, isn't it, in terms of, all right, you've got some spend, the said, but it's not crazy. It's not Real Madrid and Barca, it's not Premier League money for sure. It's 4 million here, maybe 7 million there. It said mentioned 19 million, but to have so many people that have came through the youth system is validation that at least your club is doing something right. And it's difficult to continually bring that amount through and go to the first team and they're good enough and all that sort of stuff. It's not easy to continue to have that career build. They have maybe some years that are more sparse than others, but it's validation. That's the way they won this club. One with a pretty strict budget. It's got a magnificent plan and it can still compete. And I think that's the most. It's all very well bringing kids through the league. That's great. You still have to be able to compete in doing so, and including Real Sociedad. Very much contributed to it.
Atlético Madrid under Diego Simeone is the unluckiest club in the world. Cholo celebrated heavily after eliminating FC Barcelona twice, but his fate is turning into the worst nightmare he could have ever imagined.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. I actually thought of Celtic when he was thrown out all the starts. The fact that all of the players came from Glasgow. So it's kind of a similar thing. But of all the things that we've seen today, the greatest thing is that the fans actually got to be there. Because sometimes when you look at you look back in the history books and say, well, they've already won a trophy. Why are they going so crazy? But the fact is, it probably doesn't feel to them as though they really won it. In black and white, it's on the sheet of paper that they did. But because they're not there, because you're not involved in it, so now they can scrap that. They can throw that old newspaper away. There's a new one. And we're here and we're enjoying it.
Now what is Musso going to say? That it's not a penalty? Referee Javier Arbeloa Rojas awarded the penalty after Musso's usual blow to Guede's head. His decision proved far better than that of the French referee who many say robbed FC Barcelona, especially considering that when Musso caught Fermin in the face with his studs, nothing was given. The situations are identical. Many argue that Fermin touched the ball first before Musso's challenge, but the same applies to Guede's. Intent doesn't matter. The contact on Fermin should have been a penalty. Arbeloa penalised Atlético Madrid 17 times and Real Sociedad 16 times, distributing cards to both sides, although Lookman arguably should have seen yellow for striking Aramburu. Still, it's an improvement compared to the French referee who showed 0 cards to Atletico after 32 fouls against Barca. The strangest part is that Julian Alvarez experienced a situation almost identical to incidents seen in 2 UEFA Champions League matches, yet nothing was given. People are comparing it to Eric Garcia being sent off, highlighting the frustration of Alvarez asking for intervention while the referee saw no issue, no red card, play on, unlike Eric's case. It starts to feel, to some, like Barcelona is being targeted by referees. Movistar cameras even caught Diego Simeone moments before the decisive penalty, repeating, "Today is the day," over and over. He truly believed this would be the moment to finally win on penalties. But Arjen Munoz converted, and Real Sociedad lifted their 4th Copa del Rey. And now? Where are Atletico's tweets? Where's the mockery? Where's the image of Antoine Griezmann laughing at Barca? Where's Simeone telling Barca fans to go to sleep? Won't he say that to his own supporters now? Because this is what happens when you put on a show and fail to deliver when it matters most. What remains is frustration across the pitch. And a very real crisis for Cholo. Okay, many are criticizing Julian Alvarez, but let's be honest. Without his performances, Atletico Madrid wouldn't have reached the final. Alvarez had his penalty saved largely due to Morero's goalkeeping style, but he was the main reason Atleti even got to that stage, especially after troubling FC Barcelona in the Copa del Rey. Against Real Sociedad, he scored an outrageous goal to make it 2-2. Playing as a false 9, dropping deep, he carried the entire team on his back. That strike? A rocket into the top corner, the kind that looks impossible to stop. And yet, there are still people saying he's not Barca material. Atletico Madrid are going through a worrying defensive phase. As Diego Simeone explained, the team is attacking better but defending worse. The numbers back it up. 14 goals conceded in the last 7 games and an average of over 1.2 per match this season. They've kept clean sheets in only about 30% of games, one of the weakest records of the Simeone era, far below their 2015-16 defensive peak. In total, they've conceded 66 goals in 53 matches, one of their worst records in recent years. This fragility becomes even more concerning with a potential clash against Arsenal, known for their defensive solidity, with standouts like William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhães. Atleti may have won the battle against Barcelona in this season's Champions League, but with a tough matchup ahead, they still risk ending the season without a single trophy. Rafinha might be right, they could go home empty-handed, and that's starting to frustrate Alvarez. This is where things get interesting for Barcelona, who have identified the Argentine as a priority target. According to Sport, Barca are closely monitoring his situation, as he's going through a less successful spell and showing signs of dissatisfaction at Atletico, particularly with Simeone's decisions. Now more competitive under Hansi Flick, Barcelona are an attractive destination. However, the main obstacle is the price tag over $100 million. If Robert Lewandowski leaves, the club may have to invest heavily in a new elite striker.
And they've beaten one of the big teams in La Liga today, Luis, Atleti. What does it mean now for them? How will they pick themselves back up with the Champions League semi-finals in their sights?
Yeah, fortunately they got that in their hand. There's still an option of winning a trophy, a very big trophy, and now they have to focus on that. No long ago they were changing and rotating a lot of players when they had to play in La Liga competition, focusing on beating Barcelona on those quarterfinals. And now that they are in the semi-finals, I guess the Simeone's got very clear in their head that the Champions League is the primary option. They got that in their hands, so I guess changing the mindset is going to be pretty quickly. They did a good effort. I mean, it's true that they have to get back from behind every single time, from the receiving and concede that first goal early on the game. It's not easy to get back against a team that is well organized and really intense. So it's been a good game. It's not that Atlético Madrid didn't show up today, but I'm sure that Simeone is going to manage well his players. They got the option very soon to get back into the field, and that's the best way of changing the mindset and having an option of playing in another final, knowing that they've been into final, they didn't have the chance of lifting it. I'm sure the Simeone is going to do whatever it takes to get ready all those players to fight against Arsenal.
Yeah, well, it definitely probably doesn't hurt as much with what Luis has just said, Sid, the fact that they do now have this massive semi-final coming up in the Champions League.
Yeah, I suppose the question mark then would be whether this impacts upon that semi-final, whether this takes something away from them or gives them a little bit of extra drive. Obviously, it's not like often happens in the Copa del Rey when you're knocked out early. You think, well, this is good because it takes games out of the schedule. It allows us to be a little bit fresher. It makes no difference from that point of view, of course. And I do think emotionally this will hurt. And Simeone was saying yesterday this was more than just winning a cup. It was about a momentum. It was about the things that they're trying to do, the things that they're trying to be. But there's no doubt that they will fight to the last in the Champions League, and I think they will feel at least that they have. Sorry, I was just checking what's happening behind me. They will feel at least that they have a chance of getting through against Arsenal and making it to a third final. I think it's worth just picking up briefly on Simeone, you know, and what this might have meant for him tonight. Simeone, ever since 1996, Atletico Madrid had only won 2 Copa del Reys, and both of them involved him. One as a player, one as a manager. Now, obviously, he's lost a final. They've only ever been in 3 European Cup finals. 2 of them are him as manager. He's looking for a third. They've only ever won 2 league titles. They're both with him as a manager since 1996 when they won it, and he was there as a player. And so he will still be driven by the desire to I think, settle a debt almost. When you think back to what happened in the Champions League finals in both Milan and Lisbon when they lost to Real Madrid, I think they'll be relieved that Real Madrid aren't still in the Champions League final, and I think that will drive them, but I suspect that tonight will hurt.
There will surely still be some deluded people who think they're going to win the Champions League, but don't worry, they'll get the same treatment as their brothers from the capital. Cheat, cheat, and cheat. And now they'll face reality, because when you win without playing real football, this is what happens. These are the faces of losers. Just days ago they were dancing, now they're crying. Antoine Griezmann is probably already at the airport heading to the United States, fed up with all of this. They truly believed they were something after robbing us. They had to rob us in the Champions League. And this is karma's result. Respect to Real Sociedad. Julian Alvarez, seeing that you're at a club where you'll never ever achieve anything, not even by carrying the whole team on your back, my friend, leave. Get out and make your move to FC Barcelona easier. Lionel Messi would appreciate it. Until the next meltdown, Cholo.